Well, good morning, kids. I hope that you are all doing well, and I am so excited to have you join me for today's lesson. Now, I don't know about you, but for some kids, this is the last week of school, and I am so proud of you for getting everything done in this last 9 weeks in a really odd way, right? And if you remember, when we celebrate for children's ministry being ready to take a break for winter break and then also for summer break, we have a party. And so you have been invited, if you remember, to wear some type of a costume. So I'm going to put on my fire hat. So if you want to stop the video and get some type of a costume on, it can be dressy, it can be silly, whatever you want. And you know, it may just be that I even change my costumes as we have our lesson. I also invited you to have a snack while we're chatting this morning. So if you want to go get a snack and help this feel a little bit more like a party, you are invited to go do that as well. Well, to help this feel even more like a party, I know it's just a party of you and your family, but we are going to play a quick little game, and it is scavenger hunt, okay? So after I ask you to find this item, go ahead and pause the video, go find it, and bring it back and show me, okay? So first item is something green. So go find something green, pause the video, and then come on back. I like your green things. Okay, this time, go and find something soft. Something soft. Pause the video, go get it, and come back. Oh, I like your soft things. Okay, let me think. What am I going to do this time? Go get something that starts with the letter E, like East Heights United Methodist Church. Something that starts with the letter E. Go ahead and pause the video and go find that. Ah, very good. Very good. Thank you so much for playing that scavenger hunt on the video here with me. Well, if you remember, we have been studying bugs, small creatures, big lessons. And this is the very last week of our 6 weeks of studying bugs. We've studied all kinds of bugs, but tonight we are going to study the stinkiest bug. Do you have any idea? It's the stink bug. That's right. You know, stink bugs, if you hurt them or if you scare them, they let off a terrible stink. And that's how they get the name stink bug. And specifically tonight, we are going to be talking about how we don't want to be stink bugs. We don't want to have a stinky attitude. That's our lesson for the night. Actually, we are reminded that our attitude is our choice. No matter what's going on around us, we can choose to have a good attitude in any circumstance that we might find ourselves in. You know, there is a character in the Bible named Job. And he found himself in a terrible circumstance. He was had been very successful. He was happy. He was blessed. But then something happened in his life and he started to experience a lot of trials and tribulation. And it would have been very easy for Job to start getting a stinky attitude, but he didn't. So I'm going to have Peter the rabbit help me with our story. Hi, everybody. And you know what? Just to kind of match Peter, I'm going to switch my costume. You can switch your costume right now, too, if you want. Hey, Peter, what do you think of this? We kind of match, don't we? Ah, right. Okay, let's see if this is going to stay on. Okay, and we are going to tell Job's story. So anytime I say the name Job, you either sit down or stand up. Okay, well, like I said, Job was a very rich man. He had servants and cattle and possessions, and he had a wonderful family. But Satan wasn't happy that the fact that Job always trusted God no matter what. He asked God for permission to test Job. Satan said, if Job lost all that he had, he wouldn't trust you so much, God. God knew that Job was a man of strong faith, and so he allowed Satan to test Job. One afternoon, Job was sitting quietly, minding his own business, and all of a sudden he saw one of his servants running toward him. Job stood up and listened to the message that the servant brought him. The servant said, "Some men came from the desert and killed all of your servants and ran off with your cattle. I'm the only one who survived." Then Job received the news that all of his children were killed in a burning bush. His children, his cattle, all of his possessions were all taken in one day. Can you imagine? To make matters worse, Satan struck Job with sores all over his body. They were painful sores that wouldn't go away. Job's wife told him, "You might as well give up your faith in God. In fact, why don't you curse God and die?" Wow. Not only did Job lose everything, but even his wife turned against him. With all of those horrible things happening, you would expect Job to have a pretty stinky attitude, wouldn't you? You wouldn't blame him if he got angry. He might begin to pout. We would understand if he started to pout, wouldn't we? Yeah, maybe he would turn against God. After all, this was the worst day of his life. But Job, he didn't have a stinky attitude. In fact, he had the opposite. He said, "Even if God kills me, I will trust him." Job decided that his attitude was not going to depend on how things were going. He chose to have a good attitude and keep his faith in God no matter what happened. And God, God healed Job's sores, gave him back twice as much wealth and possessions, and God honored his faithfulness. Isn't that a good story? I mean, it's sad, but it's good because we learn that even through difficult times, we can still trust in God, right, Peter? Yeah. You've all been through some difficult times lately, and I hope that you've been able to trust God too. Thank you, Peter. It's been so much fun to have you helping us. Bye-bye. Maybe Peter, or maybe one of Peter's friends, I don't know. We'll come back next week when we start our new lesson about David, and we're going to be talking about emotions, and I believe we're even going to talk about emojis a little bit. So we're going to have so much fun. We'll keep doing these recordings throughout the summer, and we're so glad that you could join us. So I hope that no matter what happens this week, you will remember that your attitude is your choice. In those times when it's easy to start getting a kind of stinky attitude, remember what the Bible teaches us from Philippians 2:5. You must have the same attitude that Christ Jesus had. It's a good reminder. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next week.